Two diets with the same calories, proteins, but a completely different energy source. One could make my workouts feel insane, the other one could make dieting easier because I'm less hungry. But I don't know which one works actually better for me. So I will test it properly in the next 14 days. In week 1, I will eat high fat and low carb. In week 2, I will eat low fat and high carb, while staying at the same calories and proteins. Every day I will eat exactly 2,900 calories, stay at the same amount of proteins, and I will compare both diets to each other based on what actually works better when you try to lose fat. The parameters are hunger feeling, energy throughout the day, performance in training, cost, cooking effort, and digestion. Because yes, both diets make you lose fat if you're in a calorie deficit, but the real question is which one works better, feels better, performs better, and is easier to stick to in real life. So here you can see the exact experiment rules. We're at exactly 2,900 calorie, which is my calorie deficit right now in my cut. And we're at around 230 grams of proteins a day. In my low carb week, which starts right now, we are at 2,900 calories, 236 grams of proteins, 153 grams of fats, and 140 grams of carbs. I think that is the first time that I eat more fats than carbs. In week 2, we are at 2,900 calories as well. We have 231 grams of proteins, 27 grams of fats, and 417 grams of carbs. This is obviously not a scientific study. This is just one person comparing two different approaches to each other in a real dieting situation. I just try to compare it as objectively and honestly as possible. And yes, 1 week is probably not enough for a full long-term adaptation, especially on the lower carb side. But that doesn't mean that you don't see any differences within a few days, especially when it comes to training performance. Things like glycogen levels, training performance, pumps, and also digestion definitely change within a few days. So it's an absolutely significant comparison. So I'll be having my first meal now. I'm very, very hungry. And the only difference compared to tomorrow is actually that I still have some meal prep chicken left in the fridge and I don't want to waste it or throw it away or something. We don't do that. So that's why today I will have chicken, and on all the other days I will have minced beef, but I will have lean minced beef, so it almost has the same stats. And I just want to make sure that we reach the same amount of calories and proteins. Let's prepare the first meal. I'm hungry. I'll be having half of that. This is 150 grams of chicken breast. So I will have 150 grams of chicken breast, which is 50% of that. Some olive oil for cooking. We will have 3 eggs, 3 full eggs, 50 grams of olives, 1 kiwi, and 1 apple. That's it. That's my breakfast. Yeah, pretty solid, but it's not a lot of volume because it's a lot of fat. It's a high calorie density. I don't think it will saturate me like crazy, but let's see, maybe it does. Okay, it's exactly what I thought. It's not a lot of volume, but it's fine. We have here the 3 eggs with chicken breast, apple, kiwi, and 50 grams of olives. It looks super tasty. I mean, I'm looking forward eating this, but I don't think it will make me super full or something, but it's okay. I love all the ingredients, that's why I picked them. And I'm looking forward eating this. That's the first meal. And after that, we will go grocery shopping because I still have to buy some things. All right, just had my first meal. And to be honest, I'm pretty satisfied. I don't even have any kind of cravings. So it's fine. I don't feel super full, super bloated or something. I feel satisfied, you know. I don't have any cravings and I feel just fine. My stomach feels flat. Usually I would always have a huge carb source in the morning, but not today, and to be honest, it feels good. Now let's go grocery shopping. That's the next side quest, that's the next to do, and it's only a few things that I still need to shop. I decided I already show you my full day of eating today, what I eat, and then the rest of the week I will eat exactly the same, with the only difference that I will have minced beef instead of chicken breast. That's the only difference. But the rest is exactly the same. Now let's go to the grocery store. Okay, that's all stuff that I usually don't buy. Okay, I buy this. This is minced beef. but I never buy normal milk. Okay, I always buy almond milk. Dark chocolate, I also never buy this. And avocado. I actually like that stuff, but I never buy it because in my normal nutrition I never have it. So that's why I needed to do some extra grocery shopping. Now I will have the pre-workout meal, and it's not a real pre-workout meal because for me a pre-workout meal contains a lot of carbs. But this one is low in carbs, like my whole nutrition right now. So what we're gonna have is a Greek yogurt meal. I'm actually looking forward to this because it sounds very tasty. But let's see if it gives me enough energy. I'm very excited and I'm not used to train almost without carbs. However, it's not completely carbs free. We will have fruits, and these fruits should be enough to provide carbs for me for my workout. So let's see how it's gonna work. First step, we have these 400 grams of Greek yogurt. That's the Greek yogurt that I usually eat. I will add a little bit of flavor powder, 40 grams of peanut butter. Okay, I've now added fruits, like a lot of fruits, 1 apple, 1 kiwi and a whole banana. And we're also going to have dark chocolate, 20 grams of it. I'm now going to have this. I'm very excited if I even get a pump. I mean, I still have carb resources from yesterday. So after 2, 3, 4 days, I can really have a resume about this, but actually it looks really tasty. And I think this will also make me pretty full. Here you see the stats of the meal, and now let's get it in. I'm not kidding, but I already feel a difference. It's so crazy. It's just 2 meals, but my difference is that I have less food focus than I have usually. Usually my food focus is pretty high. So before I have my pre-workout meal, I'm always super hungry. I just want to eat, and I didn't really have it because I felt comfortably saturated after my first meal. And now that I have my second meal, I feel pretty full, but in a very positive way. So I'm not as bloated as usually. I don't want to say that I'm super bloated usually, but I am, like, my stomach is completely flat. But I still feel saturated. However, my training performance is probably going to be worse this week. I mean, that's actually a scientific fact, but let's see how it's going. I don't think that today there will be a huge difference because I'm still loaded with carbs from the days before, but at least after 2-3 days we can recognize something. So let's see how the workout is going to be. I will let you know afterwards. And now let's smash chest, back and shoulders. Wait for them to ask you who you know. Please don't make any sudden moves. You don't know. We are done with training, and honestly it felt great. The performance itself was good. However, I felt that I had a bit less of a pump. I don't know, like it was just not as good as usually. Maybe it was only my gut feeling, but I felt like when I looked in the mirror, I was not as pumped as usually. Usually I would have a big portion of rice pudding with some cereals and fruits before training. Today I only had fruits as carb source. So yeah, probably it had an influence, but the training was good anyway, was absolutely okay. And now my post-workout meal is something I never have. It's just a protein shake with normal milk. I think last time I had normal milk was 5 years ago or something. I always drink my shakes with almond milk or water, but this time I didn't want to have any carbs from plant milk, so I decided for normal milk. I'm gonna have this now, and then I have another working session, like 3-4 more hours of progress checks for my clients, because today is Monday, and for the whole coaching team we do progress checks today. So it's gonna be a long evening, and then in the evening I have my last meal. However, I have to say I don't feel that hungry. That's already a big thing, because fats obviously make our digestion slower, so we are saturated for longer. I don't have these kind of insulin peaks. That's what I already feel, and it's pretty comfortable, to be honest, because usually after training I would have hunger like crazy, and it can be annoying, but the food focus is very nice right now. Guys, I'm preparing the last meal for today. I'm hungry. I'm just someone, I don't go to bed super late, but I like to eat super late. That means I eat sometimes just half an hour before sleeping, which is absolutely crazy for most people. But somehow I like it and I have no problem with digestion. It's the biggest meal. I have left 20 grams of dark chocolate open that I will eat as well. So we have 150 grams of chicken, 5 grams of oil, olive oil for cooking, 4 full eggs. We have 50 grams of feta cheese, a little bit of chopped tomatoes, 250 grams of spinach, half an avocado, and that's it. Look at that, guys. Doesn't look too tasty, but it's okay. I'm looking forward to this. I will have this half avocado on top here. I used 30 grams of it is halloumi, which is original Cypriot cheese, and the other 20 grams is feta cheese. This here is a halloumi, this is the feta cheese. Has pretty much the same stats. And yeah, I'll have this after 20 grams of dark chocolate. This is my dinner, and then we go to bed. How do I feel so far after the first day? Honestly, I feel great. I feel really good. Yes, my pump in the gym was probably a bit worse, but I don't know if it's just imagination or if that's really true. In the next 2-3 days, we will see if it really has an impact. My strength was good, but my pump was not that crazy. It's day 2 and I have great news. I'm feeling flat. No, really, I'm feeling flatter than usually. Usually I would wake up and I would feel pretty pumped. My veins would be popping, especially right now, the weather is warm, but I just feel flat. And this is something I really recognize today. Yeah, I mean, these are the first symptoms of low carb, I guess. So I can really recognize that my veins are just not as crispy as usual. I feel a bit less energetic maybe. I feel a bit more tired, but maybe it's also just a day. So the difference is not big, but these are small things I already recognize after just a bit more than 24 hours. So yeah, it's the first update that I can give you guys. But I still enjoy the food, I still enjoy the meals. It's just the second day.
Hey guys, this is not my video, but he said to me he want to break up with the challenge.
It's the realest part of this whole documentation right now. I have to admit, guys, I really don't feel good for the whole day. It's the first real clip that I filmed today. And guys, I don't feel good. I have zero energy. I'm almost sleeping in all the time, even though I slept well. And I really feel bad. And I just said to Raf, hey, I have to end this.
And I said, remember who you are, white boy. We're too disciplined and you have to keep going no matter what. Guys,
you're right, bro.
If this video comes online, you can thank me personally on Instagram. But bro, you keep going with the challenge, right?
Yes, sir. I will not disappoint you. I have to say I underestimated it. I thought it's super easy. And yes, I am still at 2,900 calories, but with only 140 grams of carbs, it's really tough, especially if you look at my training volume. You know, like I train 12 times a week probably, if we combine cardio and strength training. It's hard with just that low amount of carbs.
But it's actually a normal sign if you switch from 400 grams carbs plus to no carbs.
Good morning, my people. It is Thursday and I was not kidding when I said yesterday I really thought to stop the self-experiment. I don't want to sound weak, okay? And I will do it, I will finish it no matter what, but it's way harder than I thought. And before some people say, oh, you still have 150 grams of carbs. Yes, I know. For most people, it wouldn't even be such a big issue. It is absolutely possible for some people, especially if you sit in the office the whole day, if you work out twice or 3 times a week, a little bit, but not if you do my training volume. I don't want to flex, but my training volume is very hard. So I do a lot of cardio, a lot of strength training, and my strength training is not some low volume training. It's hard training, okay? And for example, also today, I do sports 2 times a day, and that's often the case. So my workout plan, my workout schedule is very tough. Something I really recognize is that I feel more sore. So I regenerate way slower because my glycogen storages are emptier. My body is not regenerating as quickly as possible. For example, I trained abs on Tuesday, and usually my abs are not really sore anymore, maybe just for a few hours, but they're still super sore. So that's really something I recognize. Also, my feet, my quads. I have 2 leg days, one limbs day and one normal leg day. And on my limbs day, my leg volume is very low because I focus on arms more on this day. And usually I'm not even sore after this training, but this time I was super sore. Everything hurts still. So it's really crazy. My mood is also worse. So I have bad mood, honestly. And I need more sleep than usually.
Ready, set, go! Ready, set, go! Go!
Okay, we're done with training, and man, that was way better than I thought. I couldn't have imagined that it's so good. Of course, always when I looked into the mirror, I looked like a little child because I had no single vein popping, nothing. I looked small, I felt small and flat, but my performance was really good. I cannot complain. I improved in RDLs, which is insane. I hit a new PR in RDLs, which is so crazy. The other exercises were really good as well. I maintained my strength in leg curls. I also made an improvement. It's incredible. So you can see here, the conditions don't always need to be perfect. It's all here in your mind. Let's have the post-workout shake, and then in the evening, let's have the big meal with eggs and minced beef. And then we have 2 more days to go. I'm already looking forward to my Sunday cheat meal, honestly.
He's dying of tiredness because of no carbs.
I'm just so tired, like never before. It feels to me like the end of a competition diet. I am so tired all the time, even though I sleep almost 8 hours. It's not normal, man. It's not normal. I hope this ends soon. We have 2 more days to go. So yeah, we're gonna make it. It's übel.
Stand up, bro.
It's wirklich übel.
Voll weinen lassen.
It's Saturday and it's the second last day of this self-experiment, and I don't want to do this anymore. I don't even know why I'm doing this right now, because yes, it's cool for the project, but I'm honestly suffering. And it feels like you're constantly tired. I'm constantly tired. My legs are constantly heavy. I have difficulties walking. Yes, I did 3 new PRs in my leg day yesterday. I don't know how, but I know on a long term this would completely destroy me. And I do this to show you the significance of the different macronutrient sources and why it is important, yes, it is about the calories, of course, but it's also about the split, about the ratio of the calories. And this is what I'm experiencing right now, and I really underestimated it. I thought, yes, okay, I have less carbs, but my body takes the energy from the fats. And that's true, yeah, my body takes the energy from the fats, but the energy is way slower available, and my glycogen storages are constantly not filled. So it feels absolutely not good, especially for someone who trains as often as I do. For normal people, it would be something completely different. can be even beneficial for some people to go higher with the fats, with high quality fats. But yeah, I don't really feel good. I actually feel terrible with this kind of diet. And I didn't think that these effects are so strong after just a few days. So we have today, for the real ones, they know today on Saturday, it's pull-up day. So I'm rushing to the beach with Rafael now. We're gonna do the pull-up workout. I will have 0 pump probably, which is weird. I'm not used to have 0 pump. I actually always have a good pump. But anyway, let's do this. I hope everything goes well. And this here needs to carry me again. By the way, this pre-workout is a real game changer. It's with caffeine, amino acids and plant extracts. It's the ESN Crank pre-workout with 200 milligrams of caffeine, and I always say it's not necessary, but it can be helpful in certain situations, and right now there is such a situation where it really carries me. And I think without this, I wouldn't have hit my PRs yesterday. So check out ESN with my code AARONS, you get the maximum discount. Now let's rush to the beach. The challenge is over, finally, and I feel really exhausted. We just made our Sunday run with my buddy Chris, who's filming right now, and we do that every Sunday, but today was probably the worst run ever. I felt very bad today. I had 0 energy. There were a few more reasons, probably because my pre-workout meal was not the best. I mean, it was the meal with Greek yogurt, which is not really easy to digest. I had it an hour before, and then I had coffee, and I think this whole combination was not perfect. Then this morning we had another run, so it was the second one today, and it was very bad. My stomach felt terrible after this run, but now everything is fine again, and finally we have the piroshki. I can't wait to eat this. The first carbs, okay, it's also a lot of fats, but the first real carbs after 1 week. Okay, 3. Alter, wie geil, Mann. 3, 2, 1. Das ist so geil, Mann. Das ist so geil, Alter. Okay, passt. Insane. It's Thursday, it's the middle of my high carb week, and I don't know if you can see it, but I look fuller. And I'm sorry that I didn't give you an earlier update, but I just had a lot of stuff to do, and honestly, the first few days were amazing. I felt like something was making me alive again, and I think it was the carbs, really. So on Monday, I had a chest, back and shoulder session. Training was really good. Also, my first run this week yesterday was much better than last week. I don't feel mentally drained. I don't feel as tired anymore. And it's just insane. It's really just insane. I mean, I hear that pretty often from bodybuilders when they do their loading phases, like everything gets so crazy and they just feel so much more alive. But I think I experience this right now in a smaller way. Even though I still eat the same calories. Do you know how crazy it is? I would have never thought that. I really thought 2,900 calories are 2,900 calories. But it is such a difference if you have a big amount of carbs or a big amount of fats. So to summarize it, I as an athlete, as someone who trains almost 2 times a day, for me it's so much better. My saturation is also better, to be honest. I wouldn't necessarily say that in the week before it was super bad, but my stomach was just flatter after the meals. I didn't really feel saturated, also not super hungry. It was more like a neutral feeling throughout the day. Something that I truly feel right now is, of course, that my blood sugar levels, they change a bit more, which is very obvious. But whenever I get hungry after 4 to 5 hours, it's already time for my next meal and I actually enjoy it. The nutrition in my high carb week was way more similar to my usual nutrition, just with even less fat. So overall, we just had around 34 grams of fats, which is almost nothing. And it was like that. In the morning, I had a Greek yogurt porridge with 400 grams of Greek yogurt, 1 apple, 1 kiwi, 50 grams of oats, and 15 grams of sugar-free cereals. The next meal was my standard rice pudding right before training, and it was 60 grams of whey, 90 grams of rice pudding, 100 grams of a pear, 35 grams of cereals, an apple and a banana. Then after training, I had 1 whole grain wrap with a bit of olive oil for cooking, 160 grams of chicken, 125 grams of spinach, and 20 grams of tomato sauce. And the last meal of the day was also very carb heavy. We had, once again, some olive oil for cooking, 125 grams of spinach, 160 grams of chicken breast, 100 grams of tomato sauce, and 200 grams of pasta. That's what I just ate every day. I think the experience of the low carb week was way crazier. That's why I documented more of it. But this was way more close to my normal nutrition, just as I said, with even less fats and more carbs. So the 2 weeks are now over, and let's compare them with each other. In both of the weeks, we had 2,900 calories, around 230 grams of proteins. The only difference was in the first week, we had a big amount of fats and a very small amount of carbs, and in the second week, we had a big amount of carbs and a very small amount of fats. Let's compare it and let's get to the body weight first of all. In the low carb week, so in the first week, my average body weight was at 87.32. In the second week, in the low fat and high carb week, my average body weight was at 88.12. So it's 800 grams of difference, and that's not really surprising. Why? More carbs means more glycogen. Glycogen pulls water. Water has a certain weight, and the glycogen gets into the muscle, and I look much fuller. And that explains why I looked so much fuller in the second week. So that's not really surprising, and that's why the weight is also higher in the second week. Let's get to hunger and satiety. To be honest, I was surprised at the beginning of the first week. I felt really saturated, and it was a good feeling. So in the low carb week, it was extremely chilled at the beginning. Towards the end, when my glycogen storages got emptier and emptier, I had the feeling that I had a crazy craving for carbs. And that's why it was so nice for me to eat that piroshki. And I really didn't want to exaggerate at the end, but it just felt amazing to get some carbs into the system. And it made me also hungry. This kind of craving for carbs made me really hungry. And at the end, I had big cravings. I wanted to eat carbs. My body literally craved for it. In comparison, the second week was much better when it comes to saturation. I felt pretty saturated and pretty full. Yes, I felt the spikes of my blood sugar levels a bit more. So I was more hungry before meals, but after that, I felt very comfortable and saturated. So the overall saturation was better in the low fat week. So this is a clear winner here. Daily energy, and here we have a clear winner. It's a high carb week as well. To be honest, I really underestimated the effect of carbohydrates. I totally underestimated it, and I underestimated the intensity of that self-experiment. Especially towards the end of the first week, I felt so drained. I wouldn't have thought that it will be that crazy. It's basically just because I have a lot of activity, I do a lot of sports, and yes, that's why my body needs carbohydrates. And of course, in the second week, I definitely felt better. I was not that sore, I was not that tired, I had more energy. Right over there are the steps where it goes upstairs. And I can remember at the end of the first week, I couldn't even take the steps anymore. I was so tired, it was intense. I would have never thought that. And of course, my regeneration was worse. So my muscles felt sore much longer, and I overall just felt super drained. I couldn't concentrate when I was working. I was just super drained and tired all the time, and I needed more sleep. Usually I would sleep around 7.5 hours, and I feel super fit after that because my sleep quality is very good. 7.5 hours were not enough in my low carb week. I woke up after 8 hours and I still felt drained and tired and dead. And that's something I'm not used to. It just was a big difference. Next point is gym and energy performance. And to be honest, it surprised me that my performance in the gym was not that bad in my low carb week. Yes, training was absolutely not fun at all. I really didn't enjoy it, but I still managed to do a few PRs and the performance was not that bad. Even though in the high carb week, my performance was definitely better. I felt better, it was more fun. And the winner is also the high carb week, clearly. Next point is the pump. And I think I don't need to talk about that. My pump in the first week was not existent. There was no pump, there was nothing. And I'm not used to it. I think the last time that I really had no pump was a few years ago. Usually I would always be pumped when I train in the gym, especially right now in summer and this hot weather. So the conditions are perfect for a pump. But without carbs, there was nothing. And when I looked into the mirror, I don't know, it was just crazy. I was shocked when I saw myself. There were no veins. I looked super small and flat and my legs were just like sticks. I don't know, it was no fun. And I don't care about feedback from people, but usually when I'm at the gym, and sorry, this is not a flex, but here and there, people come and say, hey, you have a great shape. And that happens sometimes, quite often I would say. In my low carb week, no one complimented me and I don't care, like it's not terrible. Trust me, I can live with it. I don't need compliments, but it was a difference. I realized that I just looked smaller and people just didn't recognize me in the way they usually do. So no one thought like, okay, this guy has good arms. No, I was just looking very average. And that's crazy. That was a big difference for me. Next point, I already talked about it a bit. Recovery and muscle soreness. Clear winner, high carb. It had a big impact on my recovery. The low carb was really crazy. And especially after sprints or hard leg training, I felt the difference like day and night. And that's because heavy training usually relies on glycogen. And there was no glycogen existent, there was nothing. So my recovery clearly suffered. Next point is pretty interesting. It's digestion and stomach feeling. And to be honest, my digestion is usually very good. I feel very good with my digestion. I know myself, like I build my plan in a way that I digest everything, of course. But to be honest, in my low carb week, I was surprised how flat my stomach all the time was. I felt my stomach was not even working, but in a positive way. I almost never had to go to toilet like every second day, which is very weird because usually I go like once or twice a day. And that's because we just have less food volume generally. And our blood sugar levels are more stable. We have more fats, they slow down the digestion. Everything is just more relaxed. In the high carb week, my digestion was not bad either, but of course there was a difference. I felt my stomach more working, which is totally normal because we consumed carbs. But the experience of the low carb week was really premium and this is a clear winner here. So I didn't even feel that there was something in my stomach and that was crazy, to be honest. Next point is practicality. Practicality, I hope I pronounced that correctly, but how simple it is to integrate in your lifestyle. And especially if you're working not at home, if you have a bit of a busy everyday life, you need to do meal prep, then the high carb week is the clear winner. Because I felt like I had to do a lot of fresh cooking, especially with the eggs. I don't like eggs as meal prep. It's not nice to prep it. Also, yeah, the Greek yogurt meal was a lot. Like I had a lot of ingredients, the dark chocolate, the peanut butter, everything. I felt like it was a bit more effort. It was not way more effort, but a bit more. And with carb sauces like spaghetti, you can just prep them very easily. I felt like it was a bit of less effort, but I don't want to say that it's generally like that. You can also live low carb and do it as time efficient as possible. So maybe that was not the most time efficient option that I used. But in my case, the low carb diet was just a bit more connected with effort than the high carb diet. Another very important aspect is the cost. So I counted together all the ingredients and the clear winner here is the high carb diet. An average day costed me 12.24 euros and with the low carb diet an average day was 17.40, and that's because usually fat sources are more expensive than carb sources. Carb sources are usually very cheap. especially the ground beef, the feta cheese, avocados. All these ingredients, they're just more expensive than pasta or in other cases rice. These are just basic ingredients, they're cheaper. So the winner here is the high carb week. Generally speaking, you can also do it a bit cheaper when you do low carb, but in average, high carb and low fat is a bit cheaper. So in my specific case, overall, the high carb plan or the high carb diet worked way better because I do a lot of sports, I do a lot of running, I do intervals, I do sprinting, I do strength training, and my body just requires a lot of carbs and full glycogen storages. I have better pumps, better recovery, more energy, and for me it's just way better. But that does not mean that low carb is generally bad. It always depends on your situation. In practice, I would, by the way, also not prefer to go that low with fats. So my plan, my nutrition, my everyday nutrition is at around 0.6 to 0.9 grams of fats per kg body weight. So it's definitely more fats than in the high carb plan that I did for the self-experiment. But of course, especially when you do a lot of sports, it's important to take care of the carbs. And what's a lesson for you out there? At the end of the day, we had the same calories in both diets. Calories still determine whether you lose weight or you gain weight. So we can only lose weight if we're in an energy deficit. That's a clear fact. But we should not forget the effect of the macronutrients. They are significant. The same calories can feel completely different depending on carbs or fats. Macronutrients affect hunger, energy, pump, performance, digestion, mood, and practicality. So there are big differences between high carb or high fat. So you can say it like this: calories determine the direction and the macros determine how you feel while getting there. And the nutrition always needs to depend on one's personal life. And in our coaching team, Rafael and I would never set someone on a high carb diet who's sitting in the office and training 2 times a week. That would just not make sense. And that's why I say nutrition is so individual. It depends on the person. We always look at training, digestion, job, schedule, food preferences, and the overall individual situation. That's why you would never see us copy pasting nutrition plans or using the same strategy for more than one person. It's always individual and it needs to be like that. So the goal is not just losing weight, the goal is to get in shape while still improving energy, focus, and well-being in general. If you want to work together with us personally, check the first link in the description, apply for coaching. I will check every application personally and I will get back to you. We will have a personal call if it makes sense, and then we will see if we fit together, if I can actually help you achieve your goals. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. This was, as I said, only my experience. Maybe you guys have different experiences with high fat or low fat or high carb or low carb diet. Comment below, I would be interested. I will check every single comment. I will answer every comment. If you liked the video, leave a like. Thank you so much for your support. See you at the next video, and don't forget, stay disciplined.